Hello, hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for tuning in for multiplying integers. All right, let's get it. So, for multiplying integers, the key term we have is product. And the product is the result of a multiplication problem. So, whenever we're talking about the product of some numbers, we're talking about multiplying them. Okay, and then whatever we get, that product is the result of that multiplication. Okay, so we're going to multiply integers today, which means we're going to multiply positive and negative numbers. And here are the main rules when multiplying integers. We're going to keep it as simple as possible. When you multiply integers that are the same sign, your answer is always positive. When you multiply integers that are always different signs, your answer is always negative. So here's what I mean by the same sign. If I have a negative times a negative, my answer is always positive. If I have a positive times a positive, which is the type of multiplication you guys have only done so far, my answer is always positive. So that means I'm multiplying the same sign, so my answer is always positive. If I ever multiply a positive times a negative, my answer is always negative. Okay, or a negative times a positive, my answer is always negative. Now, looking at some examples, and this is it. There's no other tricks to multiplying integers. There's no other special rules. There's no other weird circumstances. There's no keeping the sign of the bigger number. It's just if you're multiplying numbers that are the same sign, your answer is positive. If you're multiplying numbers that are different signs, your answer is negative. And then you do your multiplication as you always have. Now, one thing that might be new is the way we write multiplication. Multiplication, we write it mostly, especially in higher level math, with parentheses. You will not see, this right here is a multiplication problem. This is 4 times negative 2. You will not see 4 times negative 2 anymore. We're not going to use an x anymore, and I will also not use a dot anymore very often as well. Okay, you might see it very, very rarely or every once in a while, but most of the time you will see it with parentheses. Okay, the reason why is this 4 times negative 2 with the x looks a lot like 4x minus 2, so it's hard to tell which one's which, if this is a 4 times x minus 2 or if this is just 4 times negative 2, especially so we don't know if that's a variable or not. So that's why we don't like doing this. The dot, if you had, let's say this was negative 4 times 2, how do I know if that's not negative 4 times 2 or just negative 4.2? Very hard to tell the difference. So from now on, for multiplication, it'll just be written as with parentheses. So the difference is if there's an addition sign in between the two, then that would be addition and subtraction. If there's a subtraction sign in between the two, that would be subtraction. But whenever there's no sign between a number and a parenthesis, it's always multiplication. Okay, always, always, always multiplication. Okay, so might be a little different at first, but you'll get used to it after a while if you haven't seen it before. Now, 4 times negative 2, I have 4 times 2 is 8. That part doesn't change. Now you're just looking at a positive times a negative. My signs are different signs. I have a positive and a negative, so therefore my answer is negative 8. 8 times 5 is 40. I have a negative times a negative, so that means my answer is positive 40. And you're done. Like I said, there's no tricks. There's nothing else that you're going to need to know when you're for multiplying positive and negative signs. Okay. So I have 6 examples here. I do want you to try all of these on your own. And then, so I want you to pause it. Please try them all. See if you've got it down. And then you can come back and watch. Okay. I got a quick joke for you guys. Why are obtuse angles so depressed? So why are obtuse angles so depressed? Because they are never right. They're just never right. Boom. All right. Moving on. So, number 4, negative 3 times positive 5. My answer is negative because I have a negative times a positive, so therefore it's definitely negative. 3 times 5, 15. Number 5, negative 10 times negative 2. A negative times a negative, the signs are the same. Negative times a negative is always positive. And then 10 times 2 is positive 20. 7 times negative 6. Positive times negative is always negative. 7 times 6, 42. So it doesn't matter about keeping the sign of the bigger number. That's only for addition and subtraction. I know a lot of you would a lot of people get mixed up with that because I have positive 7. There's more positives than there are negatives. For multiplication, it does not matter. Positive times a negative, always negative. 0 times anything is just 0. You don't even have to look at the positives and negatives. Negative times a negative is positive. 15 times 3 is 45. And then positive times positive. You guys have been doing that forever. So 8 times 4 is 32. And that's literally it. Okay, there's nothing else to it. So just keep in mind when you're multiplying the same sign, they're always positive. When you're multiplying different signs, it's always negative. Now, one quick thing I wanted to point out though, if you had 3 negative numbers, so let's say negative 3 times negative 5 times negative 1. A lot of people would say, oh, this is going to be positive 15 because I'm multiplying the same sign. And this would be incorrect, and here's the reason why. The reason why that's not right is because let's go left to right like what we would do with addition and subtraction when we have 3 numbers. So with addition and subtraction with 3 numbers, we go left to right. So negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15, right? But now I got to bring down that negative 1. Positive 15 times negative 1 is negative 15. That's a positive times a negative. So just because when we see 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 numbers and they're all negative does not necessarily mean our answer is going to be positive. I know they're multiplying the same sign, but if we go left to right, these 2 negatives make it a positive, so now I'm multiplying different signs. So be careful with that. So if you have multiple numbers, make sure you still go left to right and take your time. All right, guys, that's all I have for you. Write down a couple key points and things to remember. Maybe rewrite your rule. Okay, if you have any questions, please write those down. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Gradius out.